Putin says Russia could adopt U.S. preemptive strike concept. In a frank statement made in the midst of escalating tensions between Russia and the NATO allies over Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Friday that Moscow could adopt what he described as a U.S. concept of using preemptive military strikes, noting that it has the weapons to do the job. He made the statement in Moscow. Right now, we are only pondering the idea. As Putin was attending a summit in Kyrgyzstan of a Moscow-dominated economic coalition of ex-Soviet republics, he made the comment, they weren't shy to openly talk about it throughout the last years, in reference to the policy of the United States. The Kremlin has been expressing concern over the United States' efforts to develop a capability known as conventional prompt global strike for a number of years now. This capability envisions hitting an adversary's strategic targets with precision-guided conventional weapons anywhere in the world within an hour of initiating the strike. Putin said with a small smile, speaking about a disarming strike, maybe it's worth thinking about adopting the ideas developed by our U.S. counterparts, their ideas of ensuring their security, noting that such a preemptive strike was intended to knock out command facilities. Speaking about a disarming strike, maybe it's worth thinking about adopting the ideas developed by our U.S. counterparts, their ideas of ensuring their security. According to him, Russia has already commissioned hypersonic weapons that are capable of carrying out such an attack, whereas the United States has not yet deployed such weapons. In addition to this, he asserted that Russia now possesses cruise missiles that are superior to their American analogs. When Putin discussed the possibility of Russia adopting a policy similar to that of the United States, he seemed to be referring to conventional precision-guided weapons. However, he was careful to point out that the United States hasn't ruled out the possibility of using nuclear weapons first. If the potential adversary believes that it can use the theory of a preemptive strike and we don't, it makes us think about the threats posed by such ideas in other countries' defensive posture, he said. If the potential adversary believes that it can use the theory of a preemptive strike and we don't, it makes us think about the threats posed by such ideas. According to a U.S. official who was not authorized to comment and spoke on the condition of anonymity, advisors to Vice President Joe Biden in Washington viewed Putin's comments as saber-rattling and another veiled warning that he could deploy a tactical nuclear weapon. The officials spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to comment. The official pointed out that the Russian military doctrine has long held that Moscow has the right to deploy nuclear weapons as a first line of defense in the event that it is subjected to widespread military attack. According to John Arath, Senior Policy Director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation, Putin's speech was seen as yet another attempt to increase the level of nuclear danger. He doesn't quite say that we're going to launch nuclear weapons, but he wants the dialogue in the United States and Europe to be, the longer this war goes on, the greater the threat that nuclear weapons might be used, said Arath. He wants the dialogue to be that nuclear weapons could be used at any time. Putin was questioned on Wednesday during a conference held in the Kremlin whether Russia could commit to forswearing a first strike. His response was that such an obligation may prevent Russia from accessing its nuclear arsenal even if it came under assault from a nuclear weapon. His response was, if it doesn't use it first under any circumstances, it means that it won't be the second to use it either, because the possibility of using it in case of a nuclear strike on our territory will be sharply limited. If it doesn't use it first under any circumstances, he said, it means that it won't be the second to use it either. He elaborated on that answer on Friday, saying that Russia's nuclear doctrine is based on the concept of launch on warning. This concept envisions the use of nuclear weapons in the face of an imminent nuclear attack that is spotted by its early warning systems. He said that this concept underpins Russia's nuclear doctrine. With a grin on his face, he explained, when the early warning system receives a signal about a missile strike, we launch hundreds of missiles that are difficult to stop. It is unavoidable that the territory of the Russian Federation will be penetrated by enemy missile warheads. However, there would be no trace of the adversary left behind either, as it is physically impossible to stop hundreds of missiles at once. This, of course, is a factor that should serve as a deterrent. According to Russia's nuclear doctrine, the country is authorized to deploy nuclear weapons in the event that it is subjected to a nuclear attack or is attacked with conventional weapons in a manner that threatens the very survival of the Russian state. Since February, when Putin sent Russian soldiers into Ukraine, he has stated on multiple occasions that Moscow is prepared to use all available means to safeguard its territory. At the same time, he has consistently refuted criticism from the West over nuclear saber-rattling. I understand that ever since nuclear weapons, the weapons of mass destruction, have come into existence, all people, the entirety of humankind, have been worried about what will happen to the planet and all of us, he said. It is my understanding that this has been the case ever since nuclear weapons, the weapons of mass destruction, have come into existence. Speaking Friday at U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who is in charge of the nation's strategic command, described Vladimir Putin's repeated threats as reckless. Strategic Command is responsible for the nation's nuclear weapons. In reference to Putin's prior nuclear threats, but without addressing his most recent statements, he stated, as the Kremlin continues its cruel and unprovoked war of choice against Ukraine, the whole world has witnessed Putin engage in highly irresponsible nuclear saber-rattling. Therefore, there should be no confusion about the fact that nuclear countries have a significant responsibility to abstain from engaging in provocative behavior, to reduce the risk of nuclear proliferation, and to avert escalation and nuclear war.